I'm Sweetie Abochi, and this is the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Let's get right into details, starting with scores of parents rushed into Labone Senior High School here in Accra to pick up their wards after fire ravaged 2 female dormitories, leaving behind extensive damages and loss of students' belongings. Joy News' Sarah Mensah was at the school premises earlier, and this is her report.
Scores of distressed parents today rushed to the Labone Senior High School to pick up their wards after fire ripped through 2 dormitories and reduced students' belongings, including mattresses, chalk boxes, books, clothes, furniture to ashes. Some 155 students have been affected. No injuries have been reported. Crowds of students were evacuated to nearby bungalows on campus when the fire broke out around midday on Sunday before firefighters contained the fire. The situation has some students on campus without power. Some affected students spoke to Joy News.
They used the water to quench the fire, so we ran out of water in the dormitory. But they came to refill it yesterday and we used everything this morning.
Oh, okay.
So we've run out of water again.
Okay, so how long is this going to take? Are you always going to fetch water?
Right now we don't know. Right now we don't know, but for this evening then we know we have to go there to get water.
Okay.
As for tomorrow morning, we have no idea if they will provide us water or we'll still have to do the same thing tomorrow.
So aside from the water not flow, the tap not flowing, what are some of the challenges you're facing? Do you have electricity?
No, we don't have electricity, but some students don't have places to sleep.
Okay.
So they are finding somewhere for them.
So where did they sleep last night?
Some were giving empty beds in the rooms. Yeah, some people also slept on the floor outside.
Right now we are trying to look for things that survived from the fire and put all together so that we find a way for it.
What did you lose?
I lost my bed sheets, my books, and a lot of things.
Okay. So have you reached out to your parents or something?
Yes, please.
And what are they saying?
The house mistress told them that we are okay, so.
And now the room that I'm actually in is actually leaking because of the fire. So we are not allowed to sleep in there. So they've moved us to a place where we can sleep.
Okay, where did you sleep last night?
I was taken to the new dormitory annex.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm also told some of your colleagues slept in teachers' bungalows.
Yes, it's actually at this side, yes.
Okay.
They slept there.
So were you safe there? Do you have a place?
Yes, we were safe, but we were stranded because we are many.
Okay.
So yes, so finding our way out of the room was actually difficult because people were actually sleeping in the middle of the place. Yeah.
Johnny spoke to some parents who had come to pick up their children.
Because science and no be that.
When something like this happens, they panic. So I decided to pick her up and bring her home. I'll bring her back on Wednesday. She's okay, but a bit shaken by the incident.
By Wednesday.
School ni bia ni wa wapra nyame adom bia ampra but I say omakuma atu because openikra wo fie na we tu wo fie na wo baby hia okuma tu wan hwekra na bibia yew.
There were no casualties, but many students are still in shock. That's why I came to get her. Thankfully, all her belongings are intact.
Baba me ba no de hwi anye no bibia anye no.
Classes at the school was disrupted today. Chairman of the school's PTA, Ablo, urged the general public to stay calm as the school's authorities work with parents to restore normalcy.
Those who were affected, some of them were not affected much, as I told you earlier on. So they are putting their things together. However, we have something that is extra tuition helping them. Aside government teaching normal time, we have extra one that we parents has come out with to support the children with it. That is where teachers are also in it and supporting them. So currently, yesterday, for instance, and today, they are trying to put up their things together, but teaching is ongoing in Labone. Yeah. In terms of food, everything is ongoing. Yes, because when it's time for dining, all of them are being sacked as the normal routine to go for dining. Yesterday, for instance, some of them were complaining that their lunch bag and things got bent. So we quickly then organized a plate and other things for them at the dining.
Now, as the Central Region continues its battle against the Galamsey menace, the Central Regional Minister, Oti, is happy to have convinced and encouraged two brothers who were engaged in Galamsey to switch to agriculture. During the donation of a land in the Oboyo Forest in the Isukuma Odobeng Brakwa constituency of the Central Region to the brothers, the regional minister appealed to the government, the youth and other stakeholders to help spread the call for more youth to engage in agriculture instead of illegal mining. Abigail Isel Nkrumah has more in this report.
Within the Oboyo Forest in the Isukuma Odobeng Brakwa constituency lies a new hope of an alternative livelihood for the youth in the Central Region. The Central Regional Minister, Oti, tells journalists he wishes the youth will channel their interest and energy into the area of agriculture instead of illegal mining, calling the Modified Tonja System, MTS, introduced by the Forestry Commission, a commendable initiative. He made these comments while giving out land through the system to twin brothers, Oti Mensah Sr. and Oti Mensah Jr., who formerly were illegal miners, to begin their journey in the area of agriculture.
An acre will cost us an acre to get the trees and other things done. In an acre will cost us about 14,000. And so we want the government to come to our aid, as we also want a lot of you to come on board. I cannot do it all alone. And so it's my plea. Individuals who also want to fight the Galamsey menace must also come to our aid, because it's not easy. And that's the only way to motivate them. Like they just said, they have the interest, but how to go into the farming activities demands some financial capital, which is why they are unable. But I think that what we've got into, we have no option than to find every possible way of supporting the youth to come into agriculture, which is why we are here today. We're also grateful to the technical officer of this forest, and that the tree aspect is also very important. Our forests are going down, and it's important that we replace it as early as possible. My interest and my love in this business is the fact that we are at least trying to replace the trees that we've destroyed for this period. And I think that if we get a number of the youth on board, that will help us to do that. So we are calling on the individuals to come to our aid, calling on the government to come to our aid, so that in no time we'll bring back our depleting forest.
Former Galamseyers, twin brothers Oti Mensah Jr. and Oti Mensah Sr. walked us through their meeting with the regional minister and their transition from Galamsey to agriculture.
Galamsey, Jumedi Bia, a sensase, a saying you. No, Naira, or by any mono, you can say, ye say or mine, and sassy, into a dadgena, and uti true, intina, Ija Galamsey.
The range supervisor of the Oboyo Forest, Emmanuel Pepper, explains the modified Tonja system and encourages the youth to take advantage of the system.
Now getting a land to farm is very difficult. And here's the case, we are giving you land for free, and we'll be providing you with some technical advice and technical support, and alongside the seedling provision. And what you will do is you do your farm, and you grow the trees, peg and grow the trees. So it's very much advantageous.
From Isukuma Odobeng Brakwa, Abigail Isel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
One of the major challenges faced by the Upper West Regional Hospital since it started operation 5 years ago has to do with its huge consumption of electric power. The facility on a monthly basis used to consume about 1,400,000 Ghana cedis, which is way more funds than their internal funds can generate for the hospital. And Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that all is now a thing of the past due to the ingenuity of management of the hospital, which has now reduced the monthly consumption of the hospital to less than 500,000 Ghana cedis worth of electricity. Yes, more.
It is a state-of-the-art paperless hospital that cost the Ghanaian taxpayer an amount of $52.5 million United States dollars. It is often referred to as the medical mecca of the Upper West region, who serves not only the people in the region and other parts of the country, but neighboring West African nationals as well. The cruel reality, however, is that the hospital started without the needed seed capital. At the start of its operation was 160-bed hospital. However, following the patronage and demand, management of the facility increases bed capacity to 236.
This is a turnkey project hospital that was delivered to the people some 5 years ago. The hospital came along with a lot of electricity bills that it consumes every month, because almost every part of the hospital has a centralized air condition. They have deep freezers, and because of that, they used to pay huge bills. But thanks to the ingenuity of the hospital authorities, they have been able to convert some of these centralized air conditioners at the hospital into ceiling and standing fans.
The power consumption of the hospital in a month was pegged around 1.4 million Ghana cedis. Furthermore, the yearly accumulated consumption of power of the hospital was 14,400,000 Ghana cedis. It was therefore a concern for the outgoing medical director of the hospital and renowned orthopedic and trauma surgeon, Dr. Robert Amesia. He started to look for answers.
We actually approached the Energy Commission to do an energy audit and recommend to us measures that we can take to reduce the high energy cost. So they gave us some recommendations, we implemented them, and even though electricity tariffs went up by more than 5 times, because they keep reviewing the tariffs, but we have reduced it from 1.2 million. I'm sure with the tariff increments, it should have been almost 2 million by now, but we're doing under 500,000. But we still want to invite Energy Commission to come and do a second audit and then give us recommendations.
The Volta River Authority, Northern Electricity Distribution Company, via NERCO, on numerous occasions threatened to cut power supply to the final referral health facility. In fact, on one of the occasions, via NERCO went beyond the threat and cut off power supply to the hospital for 3 hours. Dr. Robert Amesia therefore decided to implement the recommendation of the Energy Commission, which has reduced drastically the high tariffs at the hospital, starting with the change of the bulbs and the centralized air conditioners into ceiling and standing fans, which consumes almost 42% of power at the facility.
We have centralized air conditioners that were going to the neonatal intensive care unit, the ICU, the laboratory, the theaters, and they advised us that the centralized air conditioning was using almost 42% of the hospital power. And if we converted that to split air conditioners, we're going to drop from 42% to around 7.8%.
Upper West Area Manager of the VR NERCO, Engineer Francis Yemiso, commended the Upper West Regional Hospital for the initiative, urging other government and non-governmental organizations to follow their example.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
From Wa, let's go to other regions now, because the Oti Regional Minister John Kojo Japong is seeking the support of all former MDCEs in the region for the development of that region. According to the minister, the region must be seen above the petty politics of the 2 major parties. And we'll tell you more in this report.
The Oti Regional Minister John Kojo Japong summoned all former municipal and district chief executives in the region whose tenure in office spanned between 2001 and 2024. According to the minister, this initiative is to harness the experiences of these former leaders of the various assemblies in the region to promote peace and development.
We wanted to bring all of them together to come and brief us and give us the experiences that they have had when they were chief executives. And they came to tell us what it is. Some started from 1993 to 1996, some from 2001 to 2005, and so on and so forth. We wanted their experiences and their challenges so that we take a clue from them. As a regional minister, I should be abreast with whatever happens in all the district, and again, as an indigent, it is my duty, to bring peace to Oti Region, which is very, very important to me. There are a lot of things that I've heard that I never knew before.
The minister also indicated that this encounter is to give him the foreground into what goes on at the various assemblies before the president finally announces his preferred representatives for the various assemblies in the region.
I intentionally decided to have this meeting before the new chief executive come, so that I will be informed about what is going around on the ground. And by doing so, I will be able also to advise, the incoming chief executive properly.
The minister again said this is part of the reset agenda to include all those who matter in the development of the region.
We are resetting Ghana, and you should use all the strategies that you have at your fingertips to be able to reset Ghana. So I think that bringing all these people together, bringing all of them together and understanding my modus operandi, I think that I've started the research already.
Some participants who are also former DCEs have been sharing their views on this first of a kind meeting of former leaders at the various assemblies.
I think that this is a novelty. He's not here as the regional chairman of a party, but he's here as a regional minister for Oti Region. We all fought for the region to be created. So if he finds it in his wisdom that immediate past DCs from year 2001 to date should all come so that we share ideas as to how we can develop our region. This is a laudable idea.
Elders say knowledge is not in the head of one person. Therefore, it is very laudable. The atmosphere was very serene and everybody was able to air out the experience they've had in their work as DCEs and then advise going forward what should be done.
The same kind of meeting is expected of all former members of parliament in the region in the coming month of April 2025. Peter Sanu for Joy News.
In other stories, parents in the Kajebi districts in the Oti region have been urged by stakeholders in education not to force career choices on their wards, but allow and guide the children to make such lifetime decisions. Now, these choices, the stakeholders believe, would help the children live their full potential. There's more in this report.
World Vision Ghana joined parents at the Pampamwe Circuit in the Kajebi district of the Oti region in this year's Career Day celebration. The pupils and students were dressed in various professions of their choices, with nursing dominating. Speaking on the occasion, the District Director for Education for Kajebi District, Seth Seyramde, called on parents not to force career choices on their wards, but support them to make their individual choices while they, as parents, nurture them.
If you look at the categories of sectors they represent, you realize that every job is necessary for our growth as human beings. The teacher is necessary. The policeman is necessary as well. The farmer, the health worker, all are important in our society. But my only advice to parents this afternoon is don't force your children into doing what they are not interested in. Don't force your child to become a doctor if your child wants to become a musician. If you force him or her, you end up destroying his or her career.
Students living with disabilities have welcomed the government's free tertiary education policy, calling it a significant step toward making higher education more accessible. For many, the cost of tuition has been a major barrier. However, while they appreciate the policy, they argue that critical challenges such as mobility, accessibility, and employment opportunities still need urgent attention to ensure inclusive education. Let's tell you more in this report.
For years, students with disabilities have struggled to access higher education due to financial barriers. But change is finally here. During the 2025 budget presentation, Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen announced budgetary allocation for tertiary education for students with disability.
His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has resolved the funding challenges by uncapping the GET fund. This makes available dedicated funding for full financing of free tertiary education for persons with disability.
For students with disability, like Foster at the University of Ghana, this is a major relief. But he says financial support alone is not enough.
For the free tertiary, we are very happy about it. He should provide maybe a minibus for the public universities that can convene us to class.
You spend 300 cedis a day on transportation.
Yes, please.
Can you just break it down for me?
I have lectures 4 times in a day. But when you pick the boat or Uber will send you to your destination, and sometimes they will assist you into the lecture hall. Yes, so by the time you get to your destination, maybe it's 30 cedis or 35 cedis. And when you are returning, you know, most of the time in the afternoon to boat and Uber, they are very expensive. So you have to take, sometimes you can pick boats from Mensa Sabah Hall to Ikwafu Hall, it's 30 cedis. If I want food from night market and I'm pleading with someone to go and buy it for me, it means I have to motivate the person to. So I have to pay, maybe I'm buying 40 cedis. I have to buy 40 cedis for the person to, so that next time when I call the person will go. So if my parents can't provide those transportation fee for me, it means I can't go to class. So it makes most of our colleagues, they don't go to class. Even if you find out from some of the lecturers, if they will tell you the truth, most of us, we don't go to class. We just rely on the materials that the lecturers, they post on Sakai or our learning platform.
Jude.
Despite efforts to promote gender inclusion, women remain underrepresented in Ghana's security sector. The Ghana National Action Plan 1 failed to bridge the gap, with women making up less than 10% of the armed forces. Advocates say this must change. There's more in this report.
GANEP 1 aimed to increase female participation in security, but poor implementation left a significant gender gap. Today, women make up less than 10% of the Ghana armed forces. Advocates say including more women in security roles is key to effective conflict resolution. Theodora Williams-Anti,
away from that, Dean of the School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana, Professor Elsie Kaufman, has disclosed that the country has only 285 women out of the 3,000 scientists in the country. This, she said, represents just 9.5%. Professor Kaufman added that currently there are only 5 female engineering professors in Ghana. She said the underrepresentation of women in STEM is worrying and has some implications. She made these remarks at the Her Story Summit organized by Feed Ghana to mark this year's International Women's Day in Tamale.
The historic summit offers women who have distinguished themselves in their various careers the opportunity to tell their story to help inspire younger girls. It also offers these younger girls the platform to engage with their mentors. This year's historic summit was under the theme for all women and girls' rights, equality, and empowerment. Addressing the gathering, the Dean of School of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana, Professor Elsie Efua Kaufman, said despite the passage of the Affirmative Action Bill into law, several obstacles continue to persist.
Women continue to be underrepresented in STEM fields. In Ghana, out of the top 3,000 scientists, only 285, that is 9.5%, are females. Indeed, there are currently only 5 female professors of engineering in Ghana. Did you know that? And that includes associate professors like me, not even full professors. This underrepresentation of women has implications for decision-making and complex problem-solving. Research shows that teams with diverse leadership make better decisions 87% of the time because different viewpoints are considered.
A lecturer at the Tamale Technical University, Dr. Arnold Mashood Abukari, said an empowered women's society contributes to the economic growth of the country.
When women are empowered, they are more likely to, 1, participate in workforce and contribute to economic growth, make informed decisions about their health and well-being. They are able to educate their children and break the cycle of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a need for us to ensure that we get our women to participate in politics and decision-making processes.
The executive director of Faith Ghana, Hikma Babadua, said the motive behind the historic summit is to create a platform for women to tell their own stories.
Basically to amplify the stories of women out there, especially women who have achieved great things in this country, who have done great for themselves, done great for their communities and the country at large. And we thought it wise that it is time for women to start telling their own stories. In fact, when you look at the history of this country and history in general, you realize that it is mostly talking about male figures. And if we have young ones who want to become future leaders, future advocates, future politicians, future board members here and there in all sectors, then we need to start telling the stories of women as well and not just men.
On that note, let's get into a business update now with Benjamin Akapu.
Welcome aboard. To kickstart our business update, we start with the currency market. Well, let's slice now into our lone story for the morning. And financial economist Professor Lord Mensah has urged government to leverage the expected waivers from the International Monetary Fund to kickstart the process of a program extension. According to him, despite Ghana missing out on the IMF program targets for last year, the expected waivers should bring some relief to the country in the meeting of new targets. Speaking to Joy Business, Professor Lord Mensah advised government to work at reviewing some of the indicators.
Oh, yes. I mean, once the fund, you see, this is, I think, the fourth time the fund is coming for a review. And once you put your head in the fund, you know, on the side of the fund, I mean, it will be kind of disingenuous to terminate, you know, such contract, because they also benefit one way or the other for extending, you know, such facilities. And once the economy gets in good footing, it also helps the fund. So deep neck into the fund, I'm not expecting that such, you know, economic indicators will stop them from extending the facility. But then maybe give us some kind of, I mean, substance, and then, I mean, extend the program. I mean, we should, you know, look at some of the indicators and then, you know, give the IMF certain target and see how we can, you know, get those targets in the next few years, 1 year or two. So it will not be, you know, a misplaced, you know, priority if government should, you know, ask for an extension on some of the indicators, clearly.
What's the latest on our commodities market? Let's find out. It's been a pleasure serving you our business update for the morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thanks, Ben. And that ends the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Coming up next, news review. And those who join us, Dr. Ikuya Mako, member of the NPP Communications Directorate, Mohammed Bataglia is member of Parliament for Sisala East. They'll be joining us in a bit. But remember, the AM Show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We'll be right back.